Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.
First item on the agenda is comments, public comments. Does anybody sign in on Zoom?
Give me just 1 minute and I'll let you know. I don't see anybody in the chat room.
Okay,
We'll get in there anyway.
thank you.
Okay.
Next item is the Cte Program Spotlight, and we have the instructor here to give us a little update on what's going on.
So we have Amy Prentice Rogers from Human Services. She's here to talk to you a little bit about her program. Thanks for coming, Amy.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
So my program is the Human Services Program. It's a 2-year program, Human Services 1, Human Services 2. In Human Services 1, we spend a lot of time kind of learning about human development, kind of birth to death. And we do spend a lot of time focusing on child development and kind of developmental milestones, things like that. And as our first year goes on, we move into spending time in Growing Up Right, which is our on-site preschool, which the students really, a lot of times there, they kind of find out like, yes, this is for me, I love working with kids, I want to be a teacher, or don't ever make me go in there again. One or the other. Human Services 2, we spend more time going out to placements and things like that. We also have a big focus on social work and psychology, because most of my students want to be a teacher or a social worker therapist of some sort. We are part of the pre-apprenticeship program with early childhood ed, so my students can work for up to 10 hours a week in a local child care center, including our on-site preschool, and they get paid for that and get hours toward, should they decide to go into the child care apprenticeship program, those hours will count toward that. So that's been a really nice addition. Year 2, we do different kinds of placements. They might go to an elementary school and work with a guidance counselor. They might go to Head Start and work with like a family service worker. It's kind of all based around where their interests lie. I also teach Intro to Mental Illness, which is kind of my initial short block. And that's, super interesting. A lot of the students are really into that part and learning about the different mental illnesses and how they're diagnosed, how they're treated, potential causes. Those are kind of our big sections, mostly teachers and social workers. Questions for me?
Questions, anybody?
No, I think it's nice to have a short block for mental.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a popular short block too.
Sorry.
It's a popular short block as
Yeah,
well.
it is. And it's good because it's not just the teachers and social workers there. Like some of them are interested in criminal justice, med professions that come from mental illness.
Any other questions?
Well,
Go ahead, Lynn.
you have room for more students right now.
I think I'm doing pretty well filling up, but I'm
Yeah.
we're always open to learning about more students if you have people in mind, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to know whether you can take on some more students because
I don't know my exact number for sure, but I'm pretty full. But I probably could take.
and one of the reasons behind that, everywhere I go, people that have finished high school, the parents or friends of theirs told them, well, you should have took a technical class. You should have did some in tech
Yep.
education. And I'm saying, well, I'm encouraging everybody, no matter where they are, it's never too late. If you missed out in high school, to get in the adult program for something along that line. So I wanted to make sure that we have some availability no matter what, if we have it out there. And that we have a lot of we advertise for as much as, I know we advertise now, but we want to encourage as many as possible, especially at the high school level, to get in everything they can, because the reason I said, once they get out, it ain't what they think it is, and they having to go and learn how to do this or learn how to do that when they could have got it here.
Right? And that's what I love about the hands-on piece. Like, I've had students come in for sure that they want to be a teacher, period. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do, it's what I want to do. And then they try it out and they're like, oh my gosh, I did not.
That's right.
And better to do it now than 4 years in, and a lot of debt.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes I've had students who think they never want to go in there and they absolutely love it. So it's so nice to get that hands-on piece before you start college or your career or whatever.
So are there any efforts being made to encourage some of these young folks to stay in Vermont with the skills that they're learning?
Absolutely. The pre-apprenticeship program kind of encourages that because they're working locally. And last year, my pre-apprentices, every one of them got hired for the summer at the spot that they did their pre-apprenticeship. And I did have one student, she was going to go to college in New Hampshire, she switched to CCB, and she's still working at Head Start and going for early ed for free. One of my seniors who was at the awards night the other night, she did the pre-apprenticeship program. She's now hired at Growing Upright, our on-site program, and she's doing the early ed program at CCB for free. So I do feel like our connection with CCB, like my seniors did 2 classes at CCB this year, it's really helping. There's definitely jobs here. There's definitely opportunities for them. So I do think it is, with CCB and our connection, it's helping to make people see that they can do this work right here. That we need it right here.
And that was
So
part
much.
of,
Thank you.
and that was part of the dual enrollment.
We did not do dual enrollment this year. We will be doing it next year. This year, as part of the pre-apprenticeship, they had to sign up for intro to early childhood education or child development through CCB. So I wasn't the dual enrollment instructor, but we did do a lot of the work in our class.
And the other question I had, could you highlight a couple of topics that they in mental illness?
Yes. Will we cover, in mental illness, we really go through, I kind of do it in alphabetical order, but we go through all the different mental illnesses, ADHD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, dissociative identity disorder, Munchausen syndrome by proxy. They're super interesting, to people who are interested in that. And then in Human Services 2, we also focus on child abuse and neglect, foster and adoption, domestic violence, a variety of topics, substance abuse. I mean, we need addictions counselor desperately. So,
Elder, okay, right.
yes,
So,
geriatrics, elder care,
Yeah.
elder abuse, we focus on all those too. And I did have 2 students last year, at-home senior care came in and visited, and 2 students signed up to work for them that never thought they could work with the elderly. And they've done fabulous, so. Kind of just opening up those options so they see, and a lot of students will come and say, my parents said, do not major in human services, do not major in psychology. You can't do anything with a psychology degree unless you have your PhD. And I said, well, my psychology degree has been very good to me, and they get to see all these options. You'll never be out of a job. You'll never be bored, because if you decide, oh, I don't want to work with the mentally ill anymore, you can work with developmental disabilities, you can work in addiction, you can work in child care. There's so many options.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, seeing none.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we're now going to move into executive session. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Second. In favor?
The action to take it, the motion that I'm going to make is that we modify the superintendent's director's contract for the next year for a hybrid Zoom meeting system for the board's approval.
Okay, we've got a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. First item is the minutes from the RGB full board meeting of Monday, May 9th. With motion.
I'll move them.
Second.
Second. Okay, any additions, corrections, changes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, payroll warrants. We have 1043 and 1045.
So moved.
Motion? Second. Any questions on the payroll? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Vendor warrants, 1042 and 1044.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any questions on the vendors? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. In your packets or Dropbox, you should have copies of the cash flow, revenue, and expense, and the treasurer's reports. If you have any questions on that, we'll have to get a hold of the individual. Committee reports, policy, Leon.
That's on me now.
Oh, you're on there?
I'm chair of the policy committee now. I know.
I'm sorry.
All these new things going on. So we've been discussing I think it was 11. Here, I got the paper here. We discussed 11. Oh gosh. One moment, please. 11C. 1100C. Thank you, Jackie. Just as I found it, you got me there. Yeah. Referring to the fixed asset management, FAMP. So we discussed that. We'll discuss some other policies that we'll be discussing during a future meeting. We then have another meeting on May 23rd. A special meeting to discuss 1100C. We had consensus and we moved on from there. That way we could have a vote during today's board. That's really the gist of the policy committee meeting, and refer it back to you, Ken.
Okay.
Nominations.
So do we have to have approve of this new policy?
Well, I'm following up with Asher here on the policy. There were no changes as a policy change to this policy, so the board has no action to take.
Okay.
But one of the protocols that we have in place is that we do need to update our policy to indicate that we reviewed it, and today is the formal review date to that. And so all we need to do is have a motion to have the board approve the new date on the policy that we reviewed it and no changes were made to that, and that the administrative regs were updated by administration like they were supposed to in accordance with the accounting regulations. So I'll make that motion and somebody can second it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
And
Just a question, do they update the data in there? Like if we get a new bus there in the fall?
That's the administrative regs part.
Okay.
And that this board responsibility is the policy. And I'm saying we made no changes to the policy. And we wanted to show the public that we did review it by giving it the date that the full board approved that, which is today's date. And we move on. So now you got a motion, you got a second.
Okay, all in favor then?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for your explanation.
Ken, it's a little late for discussion. It doesn't need to go into minutes, but at the last policy meeting, I think it was Leon or Asher asked that we have a new box at the bottom of the documents that now say date warned, adopted, review date, and if it replaces any certain policy, so we can see what they've been reviewed as we continue to keep working on them. Right?
Now we have, excuse me, some action items. We have one field trip was included in our package, and then we have a new one, a little late in Superintendent passed it out to everybody ahead of time. So why don't we do the field trip that we had included in the package? Field trip, health occupation, going to Nashville, June 21 through June 26.
This is their national
So
trip.
moved.
Second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Questions? Any questions on this?
Have a great time.
Yeah, we wish them well,
Okay.
really, yes.
All in favor?
Yeah,
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
If they haven't been there before to that resort and convention center, it's quite the place.
They get to
so-
see the Grand Ole Opry,
Yes,
too.
yes.
Okay, the second one that was just handed out at the beginning, Skills USA, excuse me, going to Atlanta. A motion for that one.
Second it.
Second. Okay, any questions on this one?
Yes.
Yes.
It says no chaperones, adult chaperones here.
That's just an error on there.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes.
It's gotta be,
They're not flying by themselves, that's for sure.
we're not gonna send 4 students June 20th through 25 to Atlanta, Georgia. And so I know
Hey,
the 2 sponsors at the top teachers,
Yes.
Jennifer Morgan Hall and Gully, will probably be the people that are attending this conference with those students, and they meet the requirement of our number of chaperones that we need to have by having those 2 individuals on there.
If we can amend the adult chaperones to James Gully and Jen Morgan Hall, they were just excluded on this morning. Well, they are in fact traveling.
I'll accept that amendment, and in a second, you want to have somebody second, and I'll accept it, and so it's in second, is that we have, still in the NA, we have 2 people that are, 2 teachers, Jennifer Morgan Hall and Gully, doing that. So, now we're ready to vote.
Now we can vote. Okay, with that amendment. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Okay, nomination for manufacturing. Will you explain this one?
Yes, so in your Dropbox or the packet got mailed home, there should be a nomination form for Tim Mullen. Is for our manufacturing position. As you know, we've been trying to fill that for a couple of years now. Tim has been working in there in the last year as an emergency licensed teacher. He has decided that he would like to pursue his teaching license and actually become licensed for the program. So, as you know, we've interviewed and for the last 2 years for this position. So we're very happy that Tim is willing to do this. Tim has experience, you see here, the last 3 years in CAD. He was a paraprofessional, worked in varying different industries such as racing and alpine, Willard Ski Mountain, Stratton Mountain, and he's been doing very well down there. Students really like him, and he's excited to get started. So we're happy to bring his nomination forward today.
I have one question.
Yes, Joe.
It says that his license expires, his temporary license expires 6/30/22?
Yes, correct. Yep, so in order for, emergency licenses are only good for one school, one academic school year, and so once this nomination is approved, I will apply for what's called a provisional license for Mr. Mullen. He'll have to sit down with the licensing office at Vermont Technical College and develop a personal learning plan or a portfolio, which will outline the number of credits he has to take over the next 4 years, 3 to 4 years, to become licensed.
And again, I'm going to offer my services if he needs help with getting into the school mode.
Thank you. He appreciates that. So that, any other questions? The criminal background check, Tim's already a current employee, so all the paperwork is already in place.
Any questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion to nominate the individual for the machine shop? Move it.
Second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, the policy, we just approved that, right? So we don't have to do that one.
Yep, we're all good.
Okay, you're gonna do the automotive lift replacement.
Yes. So in the Dropbox, you should have, I don't know if it made it into the mailed home packets. If you don't have a copy, we can get it for you. Becky, you want me to talk about this? So we have 2 lifts in the automotive shop, both of which are older. One is 25 plus minus years old and no longer really fits newer type vehicles properly with the arms that are on them. And a smaller lift I'm reading from this. It has undependable electronic components. It was sold to us when the building was sort of built. It has some electronic components on it that have failed several times, including leaving the vehicle stuck in the air here or there. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And so we really want to replace them. And I would like to thank Fran. He came in and took a look at the lifts with Tom, because I can't sit here and tell you about what each lift does and why it's important, et cetera. So anyway, Fran did come in and take a look at them, and Tom showed him what we were looking to replace. So, looking at two lifts, one a 10,000-pound lift and one a 7,500-pound lift to replace the two that are down there. We did get quotes / bids, if you will. The quote analysis is there. We received quotes from Allied Auto Parts for the 10,000 lift, from Sourcewell and Advanced Professional Parts. You can see the different prices there, as well as the scissor lift. Again, Sourcewell, Allied, and Advanced Professional Auto Parts. You'll notice that the Sourcewell and the contracts, those all include installation and certification of the lifts. None of the other two companies, they can sell them to us, but they can't necessarily put them in or certify them once they are in. So the one company, the Rotary, does the install, taking it away, and the certification of the lifts all in one. So that's what we're recommending. It's what the automotive instructor is recommending. So the 10,000-pound lift for $6,053.33, plus the install and certification of $1,120, and the same for the scissor lift, which is $12,327.89 plus $1,120 for install and certification.
They'll take away the old ones.
They'll take away the old ones. Yep. And when we're going to get these, I cannot tell you. I'm told that the 7,500-pound scissor lift will likely be here long before the 10,000-pound lift will be. Just like the bus, we've got to get it ordered and get them on their way. They're not. The question I want to make sure everyone knows is that the lifts are not unsafe and they cannot not be used. They just time to replace them. That's all. They've had their due.
These lifts are above the ground, right? They're not
Yeah.
ones that go in the
Correct.
ground.
Bolt into the cement
Bolted to the
floor, yeah.
concrete. Yep.
There were pictures of them.
Okay. Thank you for
Yes, sir.
helping. Appreciate that. Okay, we have a motion now? Purchase?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay. And daycare lease, we had instructed the superintendent to sit down with the young lady at the daycare and renegotiate. So this is the results.
So in your packets, I did come up with a draft 2 of the daycare proposal for you. I had spoken with Pam about the previous agreement that I would come up with, so I have not spoken to her directly about this one because it is less money. What I did was I heard what you said. Leon and some other folks on the board were asking for like a value-added component, since we used that program, or excuse me, that space for our human services program presented to you this morning. And so I kept the formula the same because I think the formula was a concrete formula of how to come up with a number, based on square footage. But I heard what you said. That might be too much to jump in 1 year, et cetera. So I looked at the student count, and we averaged about a 50% usage rate in there. That's an average usage rate of almost any lab. It's about half and half. So that's what I applied as a reduction factor to it, which you see there gets you the prices of $34.11, $34.96, and $35.83. The current base rent is $2,600. So it is, yes, it's going up a little bit, but it's not nearly as steep as what it was before. So this is my new proposal. If you'd like something different, of course, we could do that, but this is what I brought back.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, just one thing, I'm glad you did that because everybody is tight with money right now, and I'm sure once they have a price, they have to increase their prices for daycare, so it would be good.
I think this is a good compromise.
And it's a very professional outlook showing people in the center that we care and concerned about them. So, and it has a 3-year lead way out to them, so they won't be scrambling to a jump. They know what's coming. So it's just a nice job at having this in place.
Manageable increases too.
Right.
And I will have a actual contract for the board chair to sign once it's approved.
Right.
Can we send that to the President of the United States to show him how to do it? I have to say that because I'm sick of looking at his face. Oh, well.
Okay, we have a motion second to approve this new lease for 3 years. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you for doing that. Okay, superintendent's report.
Okay, I know we're running over, so I'll truncate my report. It's hard to believe that we've come up on the last week of school here. I don't know, it seems like we just started last week, and here we are the week of June 6th, and half days. You heard the buses out there earlier. So students are wrapping up their final exams, and graduation is on Friday for Mount Anthony. It's also, our other schools have already done some of them. BBA was done last week, and Arlington graduates this Saturday. There's Hoosick Falls, they go until almost way beyond we do, so we run them out actually. But and so this past week, many of you attended our annual awards banquet. Thank you for that. It was well attended. We had about 150 guests. It was live streamed as well. Thank you, Mike Cutler and Cat TV for doing that for us. Good coverage in the banner as well about that. And in the second page, very nice coverage of all of our students with the recipients. So that was awesome. Enrollment for next year, we're looking at decent enrollment as it stands right now for most programs. When I say decent, I mean more than average. They're fairly full, quite frankly. I think Leon asked a question during Human Services presentation. You know, our year 2 programs are always smaller. They just historically are smaller because you have to take year 1 first. And sometimes we get years where there's seniors that take year 1 and then they can't come back. So, you know, when I present those fall numbers to you at year 2, just know they're always a little bit smaller because they can't necessarily take it. They've got to take year 1 first. But most programs are doing very, very well enrollment-wise. Some are on a waiting list already, and some have some space in them. So, you know, we're kind of at this point where the school's like this, which is good. We're starting to bulge at the seams, so that's really good. I want to say congratulations to all the award recipients and also all of the inductees to the National Technical Honor Society that occurred the week before. We've been in this, we had a little problem this year where we had so many students qualify for NTHS and for some of our awards that we had to split it into 2 different events. So it's a good problem to solve. And so we had the NTHS here in our atrium. It went very nicely with about a little over 120 people. And then last week our awards banquet with 150 or so. It's also grant season. We're waiting to hear on the applications of some of our grants, which includes our Perkins funding, which Meg has been working on diligently for the last several months. It's a lot. Can't even tell you how many pages it is now. 100 and some pages long.
I've lost track.
Lost track. It's been submitted. We are still waiting also on an answer from the AOE on our cosmetology program, of the reapplication for that. As you know, we had to reapply for that this year. I'm told it should be approved, but I do not have an approval on that still from the Agency of Education. The second piece I want to make the board and the community aware of as well is that we are still working diligently to try to finish up the damage from the flood, or from the broken pipes that we had back in December and January. And believe it or not, we're still not done. The assembly room is still a makeshift repair area. That's okay as long as it opens by school time. And the video productions classroom is still a renovation zone. The other classrooms are mostly done, but I'm told by Director of Maintenance and the work crew that as soon as students are done here on Friday and the building is vacant, they will come in and finish the rooms. The video room has probably the most work to do. It is 3 classrooms. It needs new flooring, it needs new counters, it needs new wall paint, etc. The ceiling's already been replaced and some of the lighting in there has been replaced. And then the assembly room is the last thing to be done. We need the room. And you know, teachers are frustrated about it. Becky and Dan, working with our insurance company, you know, quite frankly, pulling their hair out, trying to get this stuff. And while it's not approved yet, it's still not been signed off on yet. I mean, it will be, but now we have to order the equipment and try to get it here for school starting. We know how supply chains are. So I just want to keep you up to date. We're trying like as hard as we can, but we just can't physically get some of this stuff here. And I know it's frustrating for teachers who've been displaced. I totally get that. Just know that we're working on it the best that we can. That's what I have for my report for today, based on time, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Just one question from me.
Sure.
How many students come back after graduation for an additional year or two?
I would have to get that number to you. I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, it's interesting.
Yep.
I thought it was just cosmetology until
No.
Thursday night, and then I found out it was other courses too.
We do have a fair amount that come back for year, I call it year 13 or as an adult student, but I would have to get that number for you. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yes, you mentioned Mount Anthony graduation Friday, and two full courses as well. It's on the baseball field, and I wanted to know whether everybody knew what time it was going to be, and at 6 o'clock, and then whether any our staff is going to be there.
I believe some of our staff will be there, yes.
That's okay. That's all.
So this Friday, the 10th, on the baseball fields, 6 o'clock, Mount Anthony's graduation. Not the football field, the
If it
baseball field.
rains,
Right.
they don't do indoor anymore. It'll be shipped Saturday.
Right.
That's new.
That's new.
So if you didn't hear that, if it's bad weather, it's not shifted indoors, it'll be the following Saturday.
No, not the fall.
Oh, I'm
Next
sorry,
day.
next day.
Whatever next
The next
day
Saturday.
is.
The next day. We don't want to tell them wrong.
I got two things. First of all, the day after we had our awards assembly there, I met a few set of parents downtown, and I was talking to them on how they like it. Both of them mentioned the best thing about it was the meal. They said they really enjoyed the meal. It was first class. So you had a
I'll
good
pass that
caterers
along.
there. And secondly, we usually don't schedule a meeting in July, so our next meeting will be in August, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Would be in
Motion,
August.
anything else to be brought up?
Do you want the August date? I just want to have it here quickly. Your August meeting will be
8th. August 8th.
8.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.